Diyos na banal, maraming salamat po sa pagkakataong ibinigay ninyo sa aming lahat upang makapag-aral. Salamat po sa pagbibigay ninyo sa amin ng isang guro na matiyagang hinuhubog ang aming isipan sa araw-araw. Salamat din po sa aming mga magulang sa patuloy na pagkakaloob sa amin ng aming mga pangangailangan. Gabayan naman po ninyo kami upang makita ng aming mga mata ang mga aral na ibinibigay ng aming tagapagturo. Bigyan niyo po kami ng talas ng isip upang matalo sa mga bagay na kailangan naming malaman. Patnubayan mo po kami sa aming mga landas na piniling lakarin. Wala po kaming magagawa kung walang iyong tulong at mga pagpapala. Gabayan din naman ninyo ang aming guro upang maibigay niya ng lubusan ang mga paliwanag na aming kakalanganin sa pagharap sa kinabukasan. Bigyan din naman ninyo siya ng matiyagang kalooban upang mapatawad ang aming pagkukulang. Sa harap ninyo at sa inyong bugtong na anak, inaalay namin ang araw na ito. Amen.
Say hello to Sophie. Sophie is a leader. Everyone respects Sophie. Her team members are fiercely loyal, and they're highly successful as individuals and as a team. By contrast, other leaders in the organization report that their people seem disengaged. They experience high staff turnover, and their results are often disappointing. So what does Sophie do that other leaders don't? To begin with, she regularly reminds her team members of the purpose of their work. And she knows that she's a role model for her team, so she demonstrates integrity in all of her working relationships. She sets high expectations, but walks the walk to demonstrate the standards that she expects. Sophie is a transformational leader. But what is transformational leadership? Leadership expert James Burns introduced the concept of transformational leadership in his 1978 book called Leadership. He defined it as a process where leaders and their followers raise one another to higher levels of morality and motivation. Bass later developed the concept further. According to his 1985 book, Leadership and Performance Beyond Expectations, this kind of leader is a model of integrity and fairness, sets clear goals, has high expectations, encourages others, provides support and recognition, stirs the emotions of people, gets people to look beyond their self-interest, inspires people to reach for the improbable. There are 5 elements that make up the transformational leader. The first is called idealized influence and is broken down into attitudes and behaviors. Idealized influence describes leaders who are respected, admired, and trusted. The next element is inspirational motivation and is about inspiring others to achieve their full potential by showing enthusiasm and optimism and providing meaning and challenge. Intellectual stimulation is about encouraging creativity and fostering an atmosphere in which people feel compelled to think about old problems in a new way. Finally, individualized consideration is the element that deals with the coaching and mentoring, thinking of individual contributors rather than a group as a whole. And there you have it. This is what transformational leadership is all about. That's great, but how do you become a transformational leader? That's easy, but it involves a bit of hard work. First, create an inspiring vision for the future. Next, motivate your people to buy into and deliver the vision. You would also need to manage the delivery of that vision. And finally, build strong, trust-based relationships with your people.
Good afternoon everyone! Isang makabuluhang hapon sa ating lahat. We are Team 3 and we are to discuss the advantages and disadvantages of transformational leadership. With me are Ma'am Sue, Ma'am Mikey, Sir Ruben, Ma'am Yi, and Ma'am Bernadette. And we are happy to share with you the learnings for this afternoon. Now before we start, it is only right to show you guys the different perspective of people regarding transformational leadership. Para ba sa mga normal na tao na nakikilala natin sa araw-araw, ano ba ang bentahe at disbentahe ng pagiging leader? So, here it is. Roll with the R.
Marinaldaw, siya po si Sir Redentor G. Katapi Jr., kang Pasakaw Municipal Police Station. Sir, Marinaldaw po.
Marina Aldaw po.
Sir, may kahaputan lang po ako sa imo. Para po sa imo, sir, advantages sa disadvantages kang transformational leadership.
Sa mga advantage kang transformational leadership, iyo ang pag-inspire sa iyang mga subordinates. Kung kaya, pag-inspire ang sarong subordinates, nagibuning tama, nasunod sa leader para sa ikakatrayumpo kang sa indang organisasyon. At saro naman sa mga disadvantage kang transformational leadership, iyo ang dai pagkakasundo kang mga subordinates na pag na-desisyon, ang iba dyan ay nagkukontra, ang iba gusto, ang iba kontra sa mga desisyon. Kung kaya ang organisasyon dai mausbong kung lambang sa mga subordinates nagkakawatak-watak. Yun lamang po yan ang saro sa mga disadvantage kang transformational leadership.
Salamat po, sir.
Salamat man po, madam.
Hi, Sir Ethan. Good afternoon.
Good day, ma'am. Good day to all of you po.
Sir, question lang. May tanong lang kami. Very important since you being a new and very young leader. Ano sa palagay mo yung advantages na pagiging leader?
Advantage and disadvantage.
Advantage and disadvantages.
Okay. Ngayon po, for me as new DOIC chairperson of medical technology, wherein I in very young age, I am just 25 years old. For me po, is advantage of being a leader is, for me, I am inspiring my students. Kasi po, di ba, in my age, sabi nga nila, malayo-layo na daw yung napuntahan ko, narating ko sa buhay. Pero ang maganda lang doon is na-inspire ko sila, na namomotivate ko sila na to pursue their dreams. To pursue their dreams na you don't have to stop, you have to rest, but you have to move and step by step, kumbaga. That's why I am happy that nakaka-inspire ako ng students. Also, it is my opportunity for me to help. Bakit? Una-una po kasi ang motto ko in life, which is high school pa, ma'am. Ang motto ko talaga sa buhay is to help other people, especially the poor and the sick. And then, ang mangyayari is being, parang helping them, ang mangyayari po kasi is pag hinelp ko sila, sa tingin ko, mas makakatulong pa ako sa iba. Unang-una po, for example, mayroon po akong isang student, natulungan ko siya, marami pa din po siyang matutulungan. Kumbaga, yung natulungan ko, marami pa akong matutulungan iba in my part. Yun po. And also, to make other leaders, kumbaga. Kasi sabi nga po, sa topic ko, in leadership and governance, in health, ang topic ko doon is hindi mo kailangan maging politicians hindi mo kailangan maging politician to be a leader. Hindi mo kailangan maging the fastest, the wisest, or kung ano pa man. You have to be, kumbaga, to be a lion, to be courageous, kumbaga. You have to to be yourself. Ipakita mo lang kung ano ka at gawin mo lang kung ano ang tama para sa lahat. And ang disadvantage naman po for me, ang disadvantage is yung lack of motivation in my part as a um, as a leader. Kasi unang-una po, as a leader, ang ginagawa ko, I am motivating others. My students, my co-teachers and others. But may naglalak sa akin. It is now yung kung paano ako mag-motivate. Kasi parang iba yung pag-motivate sa iba, na wala ka din nakukuhang motivation. Pero ang ginagawa ko na lang, ma'am, is kumukuha na lang ako ng strength. Ginagawa ko siyang strength. Kumbaga, di ba may SWOT analysis? Parang ginagawa ko siyang strength kung ano yung weaknesses ko. Which is, kasi para at least, parang magawan ko ng paraan para at least hindi ako mag-stop to serve not only the students, to serve other people. Yun po para sa akin.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sir Ethan, for your time and sharing your experience and wisdom to us.
Yes, thank you.
Salamat.
Sige po, ma'am.
Advantage para sa akin, maganda sa samahan kapag may respeto sa isa't isa at pakikisama. Para naman sa akin, ang disadvantage, mahirap kasi minsan ang bawat isa hindi nagkakaintindihan at hindi nagkakaunawaan sa mga roles na dapat gampanan nila.
These were the concept of the mob or ang boses ng mga tao. Now, everyone, let us look into the ideas or concepts given by the experts or with our team. So without further ado, let us now go into the different ideas about the advantages and disadvantages of transformational leadership. Ma'am Bernadette?
Hello everyone. The first advantage is transformational leadership lowers turnover costs. This means an employee chose to retain or stay in an organization rather than go out. Isa sa mga dahilan ay ang pagiging charismatic leader ng kanilang head at nararamdaman ng bawat employee na sila ay mahalaga sa organisasyon. Sila ay tinuturing na asset at hindi liability. They are united behind the leader's vision. They share the same goals, culture, and behavior. That's why they stick around and decreases turnover costs. Sometimes, a leader's vision becomes clouded, or behind that vision, there is a hidden agenda or purpose. This leads to the first disadvantage of transformational leadership, which is transformational leadership can develop a negative outcome. We cannot expect our leaders to be perfect, but undoubtedly, they may have dark sides. Sabi nga niyan sa pelikula ng Star Wars universe, there is always dark sides. And it must be avoided by a transformational leader. One of the examples of a negative transformational leader is Adolf Hitler. He has a vision, appealed to his people's value, and he is quite charismatic. Eventually, he achieved the outcome, but he led his people away for moral betterment. So, for lesson number 1, transformational leaders increases loyalty, but following a clouded leader leads to disaster.
And Ma'am Lee.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Maria Clara Torres, and I am here to present to you the second advantage and disadvantage of transformational leadership. The second advantage of transformational leadership is that transformational leaders create and manage change. Some leaders, if I may say, can create change but cannot handle or manage the change they have created. What usually happens in some cases, the subordinates or the team members are the ones liable to find the solutions on the problems brought by the change, and the leader does not guide them anymore. So what I'm trying to say is that these actions should go hand in hand for the change to be effective. Pero bakit nga ba tayo takot sa pagbabago? Why are we afraid of change? It is actually normal to have fear of change. It means that you acknowledge the idea of change and you're about to step out from your comfort zone. We are afraid of change because it gives us the feeling of uncertainty. We are afraid that the new situation brought by the change will bring us worse effect than the old ways of doing things. But my dear friends, we have to remember that wherever there is change and wherever there is uncertainty, there is opportunity. And what we are supposed to do is to step out from our comfort zone, face our fear, and embrace change. And that's the best thing about transformational leaders in dealing with change. They have the ability to sell the benefits. They were able to convince their team members why there's a need to have a new mindset and what is the purpose of doing things differently. And they have the ability to gain the trust of their team members that in case problems arise, they are assured that you are still in control. And when the change is implemented correctly, the process allows the leader, the followers, and the organization as a whole to achieve their targets and most especially reach their full potential. So we come now to the second disadvantage of transformational leadership, and that is change can be risky and disruptive. If you're a transformational leader, you will find change as a challenging one. But if you don't have the skills to manage change, then that's the time change becomes risky and disruptive. So how can change become risky and disruptive? First, nagiging itong panganib or risky kapag padalos-dalos ang isang leader sa pagdedesisyon when you make hasty decisions. At paano ito nangyayari? Maybe it happened because without proper consultation with other people involved. In the case of companies, they consider conducting feasibility studies before finally deciding on the plan or change they want to implement. Second, change can be risky and disruptive when you fail to identify the right person for the right task. To delegate effectively, we have to choose the right task to delegate. We have to identify the right people to delegate to, and we have to delegate it in the right way. Third is the lack of communication and poor coordination with team members. It is a must to have constant communication and coordination with team members. You have to involve them so that they will feel they're needed and their opinions matter to the group as well. If possible, communication must be hot, honest, open, and two-way. Because proper communication and coordination will help each member better understand the change, the reason, the benefits, the impact, and their particular role. In short, transformational leader ka kapag magaling ka mag-troubleshoot ng problema. Here in this case, managing change even requires transformational leaders to meet the challenge of risky and disruptive change. So let me end my presentation by sharing with you this wonderful quote that I hope can inspire all of us to have better perspective about change. Fear to change is the enemy of success. If we are just stuck in the middle, afraid to take new heights, we'll be missing every opportunity in store for us. What we are supposed to do is to step out from our comfort zone, replace fear with acceptance, and embrace change along the way.
Miss Sue.
Good day everyone, my name is Sue Romero, and I'm here to discuss the third advantage and disadvantage of being a transformational leader. Transformational leaders know which important questions to ask, spot gaps, and solve problems. Good leaders ask the how, the why, and why not. Likewise, they look for the most efficient path to success and brings along with them as many followers and future leaders in the process. Transformational leaders are always looking for new ways to accomplish things. They have the ability to spot gaps and problems and find concrete solutions to solve these problems. But what makes a transformational leader stand out from all the rest is their natural ways to inspire others and motivate members of an organization to collaborate and work as a team. And hindi lang yan. Good leaders will always value ideas and inputs from members of his team. So ibig sabihin, ang good leader will always encourage members or stakeholders to join in decision making. Sabi nga nila, two heads are better than one. Transformational leaders recognize this need. And because representatives of the stakeholders are being consulted, especially in making big decisions, lahat ng aspeto ng problema ay napagtutuunan ng pansin. Hence, they often arrive at a better, if not the best solution to their problems. This task of a transformational leader to get members of the organization to be actively involved in the concerns of the organization is quite a challenge. This entails a lot of attention to details, especially great communication skills. And this is where the disadvantage of being a transformational leader comes in. No matter how great a leader is in coming up with solutions to the problems, if he fails to communicate this effectively to the members of his organization, mahihirapan pa rin sila ma-meet yung mga goals nila. Hence, providing a continuous feedback and open line of communications can be quite daunting for some of our transformational leaders. Imagine having to work with a lot of people coming from different backgrounds, belief, and perspectives. As a transformational leader, they have to find balance and be brave enough to stand firmly at the center and stay neutral. Good leaders always practice active listening and keen attention to details. So it helps that they provide regular communication and, more importantly, consistent feedback to their stakeholders. Transformational leaders are able to anticipate and detect problems early on. Problems such as tension, disagreement among members of their organization. Because of this, mas mabibigyan nila ng solution right away yung mga problema bago ito lumala. But effective communication is more than just keeping open communication lines. Hindi rin dapat maramdaman ng miyembro na may kinakampihan ang kanilang leader. Also, dapat they should not feel bad about themselves or ma-offend kapag kinakausap, especially during feedback sessions. Transformational leaders know what are the right words to say and how to say them. Ika nga, it's not what we say, but how we say them. And while trying to find balance in all this to keep everybody happy, a transformational leader is able to sustain high levels of enthusiasm. So kahit pagod na siya, alam niya that quitting is never an option. Remember, the speed of the leader is the speed of the team. And before I end my part of our presentation, let me remind us all that people may not remember exactly what we say to them, but they will certainly remember of how we made them feel. Thank you for listening, everyone, and good afternoon.
Ma'am Mikey.
And the fourth advantage is, ang mga makabuluhang leaders are focused on ethics. Vico Soto, or si Lenny Robredo po ito today, or everyone else who values character. Ethical behavior plays a large role in a transformational leadership style. It aims to change the company's corporate values to include higher levels of fairness and justice. They walk the straight and narrow path. Hindi sila kagaya ng iba na every level ng kilos ay may kabig para sa kanila or may secrets. This type of leadership gives a wider view of leadership than other methods while emphasizing the followers' needs, values, and morals. Take for example the superintendent of Region 11. Suspended daw dahil sa anomalya na pinababayaran niya ang mga items para makapasok ang mga guro. That is not the kind of leadership that should be the most noble of all profession. The disadvantage therefore is carries a high potential for abuse. What if the transformational leader's version of doing things the right way is actually the wrong way for the organization and the people within it? Sometimes, a charismatic leader will stridently follow a vision that is not a force for good. Experts often cite Osama bin Laden as example of transformational leaders. Yes, Osama bin Laden. So, there can be a dark side to this style of leadership. This is also what happens when we have small talkers during election, promising us all of the things that we wish to hear, and then kapag nasa posisyon na, bokya na, wala na. They abuse their power, sometimes blatantly like what we observe in the television, but oftentimes secretly, which is more dangerous. Since akala ng mga taong magaling at matino ka, yun pala, you're cut from the same cloth of other morally corrupt individuals. And I hope, dear colleagues and classmates, hindi tayo maging ganito, and that we will all walk the straight path. Your actions define your character, your words define your wisdom, but your treatment of others defines the real you.
Sir Ruben,
The last advantage that we will be presenting is this. Leadership takes pride in the outcomes achieved. Transformational leaders are unique in that they are able to transcend their own interests for the betterment and growth of the organization. They are motivated to continue pushing on because they take ownership of the process which achieves outcomes. Mayroon silang pride in the team accomplishment, and this gives them more drive to accomplish other things. Through this process, they can do more than stimulate others toward success through their role modeling. So, nakikita ng mga empleyado ang kanilang kagalingan. Kaya naman, sinisikap ng mga empleyado na maging magaling din sa kanilang roles and responsibilities. Sabi nga, the speed of the boss matches the speed of the team. So, transformational leaders can actually alter the strengths of the followers through their emphasis on communication and motivation. On the other hand, transformational leaders puts increased pressure on team members that may lead the employees burnout. One advantage of transactional leadership is this. It places all semblance of pressure and accountability on leader. Nakikita natin ang responsibility nila, responsibility na indirectly na ipapasa sa atin. Because transformational leadership distributes accountability across the group. While this gives staff autonomy over their roles and responsibilities. Some individuals might find this working style too taxing, leaving them feeling overwhelmed, or even in some cases, exploited. Yung alam natin na ang trabaho nila ay para sa betterment ng ating institution, kaya tutulong tayo. Total, hindi naman tayo nagbibilang ng trabaho, but at some point, it becomes too much. In a similar vein to the above point, too much weight on the employee's shoulder can cause long-term personal issues. If high levels of sustained productivity are needed to achieve a particular vision, or there are ambitious deadlines, in place, then this can quickly lead to employees burnout. Ang mga empleyado, lalo na kung magagaling at performing, pag naaabuso ay nabuburnout din. At mas mahirap ng mapakinabangan o i-inflame ulit ang kanilang emotional investment sa goals. I would like to share this quotation to you from Warren Bennis. If you can swallow your pride, you can lead.
Hello everyone! Do you agree with the different perspectives that we have shared in this presentation? I think with all of these ideas, it is only right and the presentation will be balanced if we actually have an idea of what leaders think of the disadvantage and disadvantages from themselves. So dito naman sa puntong ito, coming naman from the perspective of actual leaders, para sa kanila, ano ba talaga ang advantage at disadvantage ng pagiging leader?
So hi, I'm Christian Santa Rosa, team leader of the LG Kanaman Contact Tracers. So I was asked to share some advantage and disadvantages of being a team leader. So just to share na lang siguro, back when I was in college, I became one of the president of our organization in mechanical engineering. So I would say na there's a lot of advantage and disadvantages of being a team leader. So first is network muna. So sa network masasabi ko na na-advantage siya kasi may mga makikilala kang different personalities, different different agencies, different groups, even sa mataas na position sa school or even sa work, makikilala mo na rin. So it will be easy for you para ma-address mo yung mga concerns ng mga nasasakupan or mga fellow schoolmates mo, workmates. And next, after naman sa network, syempre, you will be more organized. Pag naging team leader ka na, matututo ka na kung paano maging organized. So alam mo na may pupuntahan yung pagiging team leader mo, kung bakit ka naging team leader or bakit napapunta sa yung position na yan. Dahil alam nila or alam mo sa sarili mo na may goal ka para sa isang organization. So nandyan na yung matututo ka when it comes sa planning, when it comes sa budgeting, mga ganyan. Matututo ka sa kung may mga expenses yan sa budgeting, tapos matututo ka kung paano mo execute ng tama yung pinagplanuhan ng team. Siyempre, being a team leader, hindi lang naman ikaw yung gumagalaw sa isang organization or sa isang group. So yan, consist of team leader and syempre yung members, pinaka-importante yan sa isang grupo. Sila yung pinaka nagmamatter talaga sa grupo actually. Then last is experience. Pinaka-importanting advantage ng pagiging isang team leader is experience. Kasi dyan sa experience na yan, natuto or dyan ka matututo. So unang-una, matututo kang magtiyaga, mag-serve sa other workmates mo, sa mga schoolmates mo. Ngayon, katulad ko, nagsaserve ako as team leader para ma-address or matulungan ko din na yung aking mga fellow contact tracer. So back when I was in college, syempre, natulungan ko na din yung mga fellow ME students ko. So next for the disadvantages is as a team leader, disadvantage pag hindi mo na alam or minsan hindi mo na ma-handle ng tama yung grupo para sa team leader. Pag once na hindi mo na ma-handle ng tama yung grupo, yan na, nagiging disadvantage na siya sa pagiging team leader mo kasi first impressions last, sabi nga niyan. So, pag sinet mo na yung impression sa'yo ng tao na parang, ay, hindi naman niya deserve maging team leader, yun, nasisira yung pagiging team leader mo or nagiging disadvantage siya para sa'yo kasi nahihirapan ka ng i-control or i-contain yung grupo mo as one kasi at least you know na meron lang kayong isang goal as a team. And next, disadvantage ng pagiging isang team leader, may mga nako-compromise na mga important matters. Minsan, pagiging team leader siguro kasi kailangan mo dyan dedicated ka. So, minsan nako-compromise talaga yung ibang oras mo. Minsan sa family, minsan sa kumbaga sa sinasabing ang me time. Minsan hindi mo na nabibigyan ng oras ang sarili mo na makapag-enjoy or makapag-relax man lang. So, yung iba minsan dahil hindi na na-handle ng tama yung pagiging or hindi na nagagampanan ang kung paano ba maging team leader talaga, minsan yon nagugulo na. So, nagiging disadvantage na din siya. Nagiging exhausting para sa isang team leader, lalo na pag minsan compromise nila yung mga bagay na kailangang tapusin or kailangang gawin. So next, minsan, next disadvantage is may mga team leader na dahil alam nila na team leader na sila, hindi na nila nagagampanan yung pagiging team leader nila kasi sobrang gahaman na sa power. Yun, naging team leader lang siya kasi ang goal niya pala is iba. So may gusto pala siyang makuha or minsan pag may involved na pera, kasi may mga nakilala na din akong ganyan na may naging involved na pera. So, naging gahaman. So, iba na yung goal niya. Minsan, alam mo na nagiging iba na yung attitude niya towards sa grupo kasi iba na yung nakikita niyang Yun nga, na masyado na siyang na-overwhelm sa power. So, yan lang. Disadvantages. Sana nakatulong. And yan, thank you so much.
Po, ma'am. So, can you tell us about 3 advantages and disadvantages of being a leader?
You should lead by example. If you wish that your teachers would be passionate, committed, and dedicated. Number 2, a leader must demonstrate example of character. And number 3, a leader must be able to make tough decisions. On the disadvantages, leaders sometimes become insensitive towards their employees. They focus more on target rather than employees' creativity and encouragement. Number 2, when leading, you often expecting people to change. And number 3, separation comes with being a leader can have drawbacks afterwards.
presentation. Now, whatever the disadvantage and advantages that we may have presented in this discussion, please remember that the biggest advantage of being a leader will be helping those in need and helping our organization achieve its fundamental goals. So, dear future leaders, whatever the challenges, mountains, or boulders that we need to solve or climb, we wholeheartedly believe in you guys, as long as you have the correct passion and character to do the job. From Team 3, maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat.